Hello, welcome to part 2 of our discussion of visual argument. Today, I'm going to walk you through how to use color in visual argument, and for that we are going to now jump over to Photoshop. I have several different things for us to do today. We're going to start out with this photo of this weird person with blue hair, and the goal is to get it to look more or less like this, so that we're isolating just the blue and making everything else black and white. Now, you should know how to do this already because I already showed you, but if you don't remember, that's okay. Let's see if we can move my face to be not so much in the way here. We'll put me down here because that should be less in the way. All right, so you should know how to do this already, but it's okay if you don't really remember. I just showed it to you once in passing. I'm going to go over all the steps now. So let's start out with the three things that we always do when we're working with an image. We're going to change the mode to the right color setting. Now, I don't know if we're going to use this in RGB color, if we're doing something with it for print setting or for web setting. So RGB would be if we're going, the end product is going to be viewed on a screen. And CMYK is the end product is going to be viewed in a print media. But let's say that we're working on our poster project, the final project for this class, in which case we need CMYK color. So we need to convert that. So I always do that first so that the colors we're working with are correct. And then of course we want to go look at our levels. And the levels are okay. We can increase the contrast a little bit. We don't want to do too much with this. It's pretty good. Could darken it up a little bit here. Yeah, okay. And then what we really want to go work with here, the color balance is pretty good, but what we really want to work with is the hue and saturation. Now, normally you would just increase the saturation a little bit and be done here, but what I want you to work with today is the master, well, not the master values, but the other values. So you can go in here and change particular color channels. We want to isolate the blue and cyan channels. So what we're going to do is go into red and take out all the saturation of red. And you can see immediately that's taking almost all the color out of the face, right? And we can go in and take out all the yellows. And that's going to take a bunch of this background color out. Again, you can see we're going to take out all the greens, which isn't going to do very much, but a little bit. We're going to leave the cyans and blues alone for now. We'll take out any remaining magentas. And the cyans and blues, we're going to increase a little bit. The blues in particular will increase. Now, I'm not sure that we want cyans. Let's see if we want to take the cyans out. Oh, no, that looks really weird. So we'll keep the cyans in there. We need the cyans for around the edges. Otherwise, it looks really weird. Okay, so if we do that, we can make it so that just the blue is isolated, right? And that's cool. But we have some blue out the window here and in the back. What if I wanted instead to make just the hair blue and we didn't want any of the background to be blue? How would I do that? You know how to do this too. Well, first I need to unlock the background, right? I would need to isolate in some way the hair, and I don't need to be too careful about this, right? Because the part of the background that's blue is not super close to the hair. But I would need to select around the hair. Dun, 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 dun. This would be easier, not on a trackpad. Okay. And then anything that's inside this selection, I'll be applying the tools to. Now, I actually don't want that. I want to apply everything to outside the selection. So I actually want to make the selection a little bit smaller so that I am not going to leave part of my face flesh colored and the rest of it not, because that would be silly. So I want to get a little bit closer here and just make sure that we fix that up. We'll get right in there. Make sure we got all of the ear. What are you doing over here, guys? Okay. So it looks like I got pretty close. So what I'm trying to do is just isolate the hair part of it. And then we're going to select inverse. So now I'm selecting everything except the hair. And I can then just go into that and do, oh. Why is it not going to let me do adjustments now? It should let me do adjustments. Image. Nope, not going to let me do adjustments. Okay, never mind. It should. We'll make a copy of it. All right. Then we can go in here and just make this whole inside part just black and white, right? And so now we can see that just what is inside that selection part is left color, and everything else is black and white. And then we can inverse the selection again, say okay. And we can go in there with the masters and take out all the reds and all the yellows, which is, I think, a lot of that background there, and all the greens. Yeah, there we go. And all the magentas. And leave the cyans, but maybe pull them down a little bit to get some blending. And we'll push the blues up, because that's what we're really going for here, is to have the blues. All right, and we're going to deselect now. And now we have just the blues. The whole background is black and white. The whole, like, everything's black and white except for the hair, right? And so we've gone through that whole process. All right, so this is a cool effect, but why would you do it in the context of your poster project? Well, one of the things that you need to do is to explain to us how colors are helping to make your particular image, or helping to make the argument in your particular image. So here is the image that I used for my example poster. And I'm actually gonna, let me pull the layers out to the side here for you because I have a lot of them. And Really? You're going to get real small on these? Can we be? Yeah, okay, that's better. Because there are a lot of them here. One of the things that I did with this image was I wanted to show how important this kind of grimy white gray background was to how we understand this image, and also how important the red hood is to the meaning in the image. And so I, in Photoshop, altered the colors. So if we look at this image and see it as blue, for instance, it feels very different in its tone. It would be making a really different kind of argument. Or if we made it all red or green, or if the hood itself were blue, or if the whole thing were brown, or if the hood were green, right? All of these feel really different. Or if the whole thing were grayscale, or if the hood were red but the background were gray, right? Like all of these feel really different. You could have a red hood on a brown background, or on a green background, or on a blue background. And all of these feel really, really different in tone from the original. And I wanted to show that. And so I digitally changed the colors so that I could demonstrate the work that the particular colors that were chosen by the artist was doing in the image, and how very different the image felt with a different color palette. So one of the things that you can do to demonstrate the work that the color is doing, if the color is really important in your image, which it probably is to take your image and digitally edit the color to show, here in this image, I took out all colors that were not red, for example. And you can do something like that to show the importance of a particular color, or you can do something like this and make it all one color, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment, to demonstrate that this kind of feeling is extremely different from the original image and would give it a fairly different kind of meaning. And that the colors chosen by the artist, even if it's a photograph and it wasn't staged, it's a kind of photojournalist, the colors that are in the image matter to how we understand it, right? And so digitally manipulating the colors can help us to see how the colors in the original image are working by comparison and contrast. So this is one of the ways that you can show us how those colors are working, because you can put these images next to each other on your poster to show us by contrast, what is going on. So let me show you how to colorize an image. So we can go back to that same hue saturation panel, and we can choose this option to colorize. You'll see right away that it makes it black and white, more or less. Let me push the saturation up a little bit. So basically what you're doing here is you're making the whole thing black and white, but instead of black, you're choosing a different color. This is how you make something look sepia toned. And sepia toned is going to be down near the orange side of the slider, with not a ton of saturation, something like this. You can make something cyan toned You can make it purple, you can make it pink, you can make it any color you want. But basically what you're doing is you're changing the midtones of something. Well, you're changing whatever color this slider is at to be that. And you can make it very light or very dark. You typically want it somewhere in the middle, though, for it to work well. And you can change the saturation to be closer to black, and that'll give you a much more subtle effect, or brighter, and that'll be more like a pop art type effect, and everywhere in between. And so you can move this slider back and forth to decide kind of what color you are going for. But this is how you change a whole image at once. If you want to isolate just part of an image, of course, you need to select it and then do this. And the way that I did this on my on this image was I just made lots and lots and lots of copies. You can see that I have background copy 2, 5, 6, 3, 4, 1, right? And I just kept copying it and then changing how I was doing the colorize feature to see the different kinds of tones that I could make with it. And I picked the ones that that helped me to explain the work that the red and kind of tan colors were doing in the image. I picked the colors that were that also could invoke similar kinds of moods, but were in different color palettes, so that I could explain what was going on there. So, and you can see my finished poster about this in our examples folder on our course space. So you can go look at that. I made 2 different versions of it, one with lots of words and one with lots of pictures, and they both go together, but you can go look at those for ideas. So today, what I want you to do is take your image and make at least 5 variations of it in colors. Maybe one of the variations can be to isolate a particular color, like I did here, to highlight the red and the work that the red was doing in this image, or the blue and the work that the blue was doing in this image. So that would be a good thing for you to do, is to pick out a prominent color and highlight the work that that one color is doing. So I want you to turn in one image or one variation of your image where you are highlighting one color channel, and take all the rest of those color channels out, make them all grayscale. So turn in one variation of your image that's like that. If your image is black and white, then you don't have to do that part. But if it is in color, you need to do that. And then turn in 4 variations that are colorized. And if you're doing black and white, then do more than that. Do 5 colorized variations. And show me what this could look like if it were in different color variants. If the overall tone were warmer or cooler or greener or rosier, what would the image look like? So you can do at least 2 that are fully colorized. If you're working with a fully color image, you can do a couple that you've just pushed the color palette to be warmer or cooler and not fully colorized it. You don't have to go all the way to black and white, but I want you to turn in 5 images that you have, 5 versions of your image that you have altered the colors on. And with a brief explanation of why you have chosen those particular alterations and how that helps you to explain how that helps you to explain what is happening in your image and what is important in your image. So I hope you have fun with that. I hope you have fun messing around with colors in Photoshop, and I will see you next time. Don't touch anybody else's face. Bye.